Chapter 1: The Manufactured King, Why Harry Felt Inevitable. In 2014, if you asked music executives who the breakout star of One Direction would be, many of them didn't say Harry Styles. They pointed to the quiet one with the dangerous voice. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Harry Styles didn't become the biggest star from One Direction because he was the most talented. He became the biggest star because the band broke up. We've been conditioned to believe in what I call the Harry inevitability. We look at the Grammys, the Gucci campaigns, the sold-out stadiums, and we think, of course, it was always going to be him. But inevitability is a story told after the outcome. If you look at the data from 2010 to 2015, the vocal heat maps, the audience response, the raw industry demand, the Harry inevitability starts to look more like a Harry accident. Not failure, not luck, but timing, structure, and narrative alignment. This isn't about who deserved success. It's about who the system could safely build around. In a world where One Direction never breaks up, the crown doesn't stay on Harry's head. It shifts to the artist the industry struggled to contain. The one whose voice, image, and identity didn't fit cleanly into a marketable box. Today, we're dismantling the biggest what if in modern pop culture. We're going inside label boardrooms and recording booths to understand why executives were quietly relieved when Zayn left the group, and why being perfectly manageable is exactly what might have turned Harry Styles into a background character. Chapter 2: Drawing the Battle Lines. If One Direction never broke up, this isn't a feel-good story about everyone winning. Pop music is a zero-sum game. There is only ever room for one sun at the center of the solar system. Everyone else? They're just planets, reflecting the light of the star. If the 5P stayed together into 2017, 2018, and beyond, a civil war was coming. Not a war of fists, but a war of relevance. Someone becomes the star, and someone doesn't. In a group of 5, who does the camera gravitate toward when the stakes are highest? Is it the one who plays the game, or the one who breaks the rules? We've been taught that Harry was the rebel. But in reality, Harry was the most compliant member the band ever had. He was the ultimate company man. And in the music industry, company men are great for business, but they rarely become legends while they're still part of the machine. To understand why Zayn was the real threat to Harry's throne, we have to look at the Star Maker formula, and how Harry was almost a victim of his own success. Chapter 3: The Harry Deconstruction, the Safe Asset. Let's get real about Harry Styles. Labels love Harry. Why? Because Harry is a safe asset. He has the safe image. He's the industry-friendly face. He is perfectly media-trained to say everything and nothing at the same time. While the other boys were getting caught in scandals or showing frustration, Harry was the one blowing kisses to the front row. Inside a still-functioning boy band, Harry is the reliable one, not the rare one. When you are in a group, the label's goal is brand consistency. They need you to stay in your lane. Harry's lane was the charismatic frontman. It's a role we've seen 1,000 times, from Mick Jagger to Robbie Williams. But here's the problem with being the charismatic frontman: you are a universal archetype. You are designed to be liked by everyone. And when you are liked by everyone, you are rarely obsessed over by the fringe. Harry is the Big Mac. It's a global powerhouse. It's consistent. It's a miracle of marketing. But you don't pay a premium for a Big Mac. You pay a premium for the rare aged steak you can only find in one hidden restaurant in the city. By staying in the group, Harry's uniqueness gets diluted by the 1D brand. He becomes a replaceable part of a massive engine. But while Harry was playing the role of the perfect pop star, there was a shadow growing in the back of the stage. A shadow that possessed the one thing Harry could never manufacture: the edge of mystery. Chapter 4: The Zayn Ascension, the unreachable icon. Now, flip the power dynamic. While Harry was the face, Zayn Malik was the soul. Zayn had the one thing labels obsess over when groups stay together: contrast. In every boy band, there is a peak talent. The one whose voice isn't just good, but essential. Let's look at the vocal stems. Zayn held the high notes in You and I and Best Song Ever that gave the band their musical credibility. Without Zayn's R&B runs, One Direction was just another bubblegum act. With him, they had gravity. But his real power wasn't his voice. It was his unpredictability. In a world of 24/7 social media access, Zayn was a ghost. He didn't tweet. He didn't do the charming interviews. He was the mysterious one. In the attention economy, mystery is more valuable than gold. If the band stays together, Zayn becomes the member that the serious music world wants to talk to. He's the one the high-fashion designers want to dress because he doesn't look like he's trying. He's the one the R&B legends want to collaborate with. If Harry is the sun, bright, constant, and eventually something you have to look away from, Zayn is a solar eclipse. You wait for it. You plan your day around it. You remember exactly where you were when you saw it. Zayn didn't need to be everywhere. He needed to be unforgettable. And in a 20-year career, unforgettable beats everywhere, every single time. But there's a reason the industry would have eventually had to choose between them. Chapter 5. The Industry Reality Bomb. This isn't fan fiction. This is the cold, hard logic of the music business. When bands stay together, labels eventually hit a saturation point. They realize they can no longer sell the group to the older demographic. They need to pivot to a solo star within the group. And here is the secret: they don't always push the most popular member. They push the most different one. Timberlake versus NSYNC. The industry didn't want another JC Chases. JC was the better singer. But Justin Timberlake had the edge. He had the crossover appeal into R&B and hip-hop. Beyoncé versus Destiny's Child. The label didn't just want a singer, they wanted a cultural force. They saw that Beyoncé could reach audiences the group couldn't touch. In a functioning One Direction, the label would have looked at Harry and seen a pop product. They would have looked at Zayn and seen a global icon. Zayn was the only member who could cross over into the cool market. He could hit the urban charts, the alternative R&B charts, and the moody indie scene. Harry, at the time, was locked into the pop-rock box. In that world, Zayn becomes the edge. Harry becomes the face. The industry doesn't reward the best person. It rewards the person who is the hardest to replicate. You can find another charismatic white guy with a great smile. You cannot find another Zayn Malik. Chapter 6. The Timeline That Never Was. So, what would have actually happened? If the band never broke up, we likely never get the Harry Styles we know today. We don't get Fine Line. We don't get the gender-fluid fashion icon. Why? Because that version of Harry required the shock factor of his solo debut to work. In the group, Harry stays the cute one. He stays in the skinny jeans and the blazers. He stays within the boundaries of what a 1D member is allowed to be. Zayn, however, would have continued to pull the band's sound towards something darker, sexier, and more sophisticated. He would have been the one pushing for the Mind of Mine aesthetic while still under the 1D banner. Harry won the solo era we got. He played the long game. He outworked, outtoured, and outcharmed everyone. But Zayn might have won the era that never existed. The era where cool mattered more than commercial. The era where being the best wasn't about how many tickets you sold, but how much you changed the sound of the radio. Chapter 7. The Final Verdict. The reality of the music industry is harsh. It doesn't care about your nostalgia. It cares about the it factor. We've been told for a decade that Harry Styles was the only star in that group. But if you look at the raw talent, the industry trajectory, and the power of mystery, you realize that Harry's throne is built on the vacuum Zayn Malik left behind. If One Direction stayed together, who does the industry actually push first, Harry or Zayn? And don't say both. Pick one. This is a debate that has no clean winner, but it has a very clear loser: the fans who never got to see this power struggle play out. If you think Harry was always the king, tell me why in the comments. If you think Zayn was robbed of his status as the group's true icon, I want to hear it. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We are diving deep into the untold stories of the biggest icons in the world every single week. You don't want to miss what we're uncovering next.